The Millionaire Next Door, and the 5 factors they have in common. I probably read this book similar time as Rich Dad Poor Dad. Investing in real estate was a buzzword at the time, and even though these books were written more than 20 years ago, there's still a lot of truth in it. Most people have it wrong about wealth, not only in America, but other parts of the world. As quoted from the book, wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend. It is seldom luck, inheritance, advanced degrees, or even intelligence that enables people to amass fortunes. Wealth is more often the result of a lifestyle of hard work, perseverance, planning, and most of all, self-discipline. I find this all to be true, and I will add working smarter on this list as well. Now, how do you know if somebody's a millionaire or wealthy? Is it because they drive the luxury cars, own big houses, wears expensive jewelry and clothing? The answer is, you don't really know. Well, unless you have access to the balance sheet, that is. But you can normally guess based on their attitude towards money. While some millionaires might own all these luxury things, we are going to talk about the millionaire next door, or as I call them, the not so obvious millionaire, and the 5 factors they have in common. I will also provide some examples based on my own experience. First is, they live well below their means. It was mentioned in the book Frugal, 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 which is subjective and relative. Does this mean that you live on ramen noodles every day in order to save your money? Well, maybe in the initial stages of building a business. Let me just say a more appropriate word is sensible. It is sad and unfortunate that even up to now, the majority of people still judge others based on looks, what they own and wear. People see the luxury cars, big houses, expensive jewelry, and automatically assume they are rich. The lavish lifestyle is the one that sells TV time and news though. Even when you search money on YouTube, music videos that promote luxurious living pops up. The younger generation, unless they read a book like this or similar, will still think this way. Does this mean millionaires dress lousy and cheap, drive cheap cars? Not at all. Some do buy the luxury things, but from income through assets, or via the companies that are tax deductible. But let's stick with the frugal side of things, and it's probably better demonstrated with a story. I sometimes hang out with the sales manager of a building company. Let's call him Paul, because I wanted to learn about the business of house and land packages. Paul met with a client one day in the office. Let's call him Trevor. Trevor asked Paul if he knows people that sells land. Paul said, sure, we can go for a drive so I can show you. With me tagging along, we went to Paul's car for a drive to visit some land estate offices. Trevor is in his late 50s, dressed casually, wearing sneakers, and drives a 15-year-old car. We went to a few land development offices in the morning, then went back to one we previously visited. Trevor asked the salesperson how much if he buys 6 lots, which surprised the salesperson because it doesn't look like he can afford to buy anything. Trevor knew what he was doing though. He knew that these sales offices have quotas, and he ended up getting a discount of around $15,000 per lot, which gave him a total discount of $90,000. Then he got another $15,000 discount per house, as building 6 houses next to each other is easier for the building contractor to organize subcontractors, and the whole project were finished in 9 months instead of 12. Now let's just itemize what happened with this deal. First, Trevor found somebody who knows better than him, my friend Paul. Second, he did his research and knew how motivated the land sales officers are to sell prepared land, as they need ongoing cash to fund future projects. Third, he knew that the building contractor and Paul would be motivated to offer further discounts on the houses because it's easier for the building contractor to organize, and Paul would get his full commission earlier once the project is finished. Fourth, this whole project was financed by Trevor's bank, so Trevor doesn't even have to put out any of his money. At the end of the project, Trevor sold 3 house and land packages even before they were finished and kept 3. So now he's got 3 fully paid cash flow positive properties that he can use as collateral for his next project. So you really can't judge a book by its cover. The moral of this story is, by being frugal or sensible with his money, Trevor is able to save and allocate money towards his investments, which leads us to the second factor. They allocate their time, energy, and money efficiently in ways conducive to building wealth. Now, this wasn't really mentioned in the book, but I would add they do things effectively first, then efficiency comes after. When I Google the difference between effective and efficient, can be summed up as effective is doing the right things, while being efficient is doing things right. Remember the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective and Not Highly Efficient People? Sometimes a few reorganizing of words can make a lot of difference. Now, Trevor wouldn't have been able to put this deal together without doing his research, knowing his numbers, building relationships, and planning, so doing the right things first, and efficiency comes after when executing his plans. Trevor was able to free up his time by outsourcing the tasks to people or experts that know more than him in regards to the particulars of the project. In other words, he let people do what they do best. Of course, he is smart enough to know the overall workings of the deal. Outsourcing, however, is not exclusive to millionaires or wealthy people. You can now outsource administration jobs via virtual assistants for a fraction of the cost and more likely to get a better result. I will discuss this further on another video. For now, we'll stick to the premise of this book. They believe that financial independence is more important than displaying high social status. During one of our conversations, Trevor mentioned that he worked for a company for 20 years. During that time, he's always saved and invested his money, but not without risk. He did mention the times where he ended up losing part of his investment. The main thing is cutting off the losing deals quick, ride your winners, and protect yourself with insurance. Sounds like a page taken from How to Trade Stocks. I asked him why he drives an old car, because I know he can afford a newer one. One time he was even driving his daughter's car because his car just stopped and was being fixed. He said he's not really into cars, and he's not able to claim it on tax. If I'm in the sales or service business, where I need to service or drive clients, then I'll get a new car, because I can claim it on tax. Besides, I'd rather spend a little bit more money whenever I go overseas to visit my relatives. The way he dressed up reminds me of a quote from another rich person saying, "I put on clothes that I'm comfortable wearing, and I don't care about what other people think. I don't dress up to look successful. I already know I'm successful." One of the successful developers I know said he drives an older pickup truck when visiting his developments to be in touch with the building contractor. He will spend time talking to the construction workers, asking how they are, how their families are, and if they're being treated right. He said he didn't want to drive one of his luxury cars during his visits because he didn't want them to feel like they're being taken advantage. Sounds like he's taking a page out of How to Influence and Influence People. Fourth is they are proficient in targeting market opportunities. I find this section of the book lacking with too much emphasis specializing on a particular vocation or career. I do agree with targeting market opportunities though, so let me expand on it a bit. During the gold rush, there are those who dig for gold and those that supply the shovels to the ones digging for gold. More often than not, the ones that supply the shovels are the ones that get rich. In some cases, if not most, the opportunity is supplying the shovel to the people digging for gold instead of the gold itself. In Trevor's case, he's the one digging for gold and one of the smart ones. Currently, in today's market when everyone is greedy and asking for too high price for their land and property, most smart developers will stay away as there is not enough margin. Trevor is staying away from the property market at the time being. He told me that the opportunity is when the market is fearful or on the downturn. Bargains can be had to those who are prepared. The downturn is starting. I'm one of those preparing for the inevitable. When it comes to specializing, a successful developer I know tells me he specializes on 3 things: managing processes, managing people, providing a quality product the market wants to buy. He often caters for investors because they're easier to deal with as they talk numbers. He doesn't like dealing with home buyers because they make too much fuss and normally want to change too much on materials and floor plan. With investors, they normally buy off the plan because by the time they settle, the property would have increased in value and built up equity. He built a team of specialized people like property lawyers, building contractors, architects, real estate brokers, interior designers, etc. Fifth and last one is they chose the right occupation. Now I've jotted down some synonyms for the word occupation like line of work, line of business, skill, field, to name a few. Now I quote, "You can't predict if someone is a millionaire by the type of business they're in," which is so true. One day I met this attractive woman who looks like a model and asked what she does. She said she owns a cleaning business, then went on to say that after graduating with a degree, she didn't expect to be in the business of cleaning for a living. But then she saw the potential and the opportunity to make some serious money and established one of the biggest companies in the cleaning industry in my area. Now, in spite of being told by her friends and family that she's making a mistake, she started a business with a friend of hers, and now I can honestly say that she's a millionaire. You wouldn't be able to say that she's in that line of business just by looking at her, and that she's making a killing because of the commercial contracts that she services. Now, before you buy a van and cleaning equipment hoping to duplicate what she did, make sure the area you're going to service do have the need. In my area, it's almost saturated and too competitive because there's a lot of established companies in the industry already. The chances of succeeding while still there is now marginally lower. Sometimes you don't have to be in business to be a millionaire. That's why I cited Trevor as an example. However, if you want to become a millionaire, I do believe you need to have the millionaire mind first. In this book I will be reviewing next.